Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Richard, founder of Short-Term Rental University and Airbnb Superhost, coming to you from a work in progress, our new studio. Charles and I are setting it up, but we had some thoughts, we needed to capture them. So let's get started. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about something that's happening in real time. It's like contemporary. I'm pricing my Jackson Hole listing. It's going live. And I want to talk to you about the 5 things that I look for when I price my property. And the very first one is establishing a base price. So I just did this. I just got my first listing. I wasn't really ready. The photographs weren't ready. That was unfurnished and so on, but I listed it anyway. Check out my video. Revenue is greater than ready. I listened to my own advice and I got a booking, so it was great. To the pricing point though, how did I figure out what the pricing was? Well, here's what I did. The very first thing that I did was establish a base price. The easiest way to do that is to speak to local property managers. Interview them, figure out what they would charge. As it turns out, they're all looking at pretty much the same data, and therefore the pricing was relatively similar. They all thought during peak season I might command, I don't know, let's pick a number, $400 a night. Some of them thought it was $375, some thought it was $425, but fairly consistently they all thought it was about $400 a night, and they all thought that I would rent, again, let's just pick a number, about 90 nights in the peak season. The second thing though was I always think I can do better than that. I tend to think that people are generally looking to please but not outperform, looking to take moderate risk but not significant risk. And it's not really their property, so it's a little bit of a job. And that's not to say that there aren't wonderful property managers out there before you start putting the thumbs down and disliking. There's some great property managers out there. There's some great Airbnb hosts and co-hosts. But generally speaking, I'm of the belief that I can always do better than the masses and the average result. And I would encourage you to think that way too. So if 400 is the number, I'm shooting for, say, 10% more. 440, 450, 475 even, and I'm going to add a lot of value through my Superhost and my hosting capabilities and my cleaning and so on, so I think I can do better. So the third thing I did was something that I believe in, we'll include the link below, dynamic pricing. I'm a big fan of Beyond Pricing. I've used it in all my other listings. They're available here in Jackson Hole, so I connected my service to Beyond Pricing. Something that I recognize and I just want to share with you right now is that process of syncing Beyond Pricing to my listing took a little while. It made me a little bit uncomfortable, but it's not in real time. So I don't know, I went to dinner, I went to sleep, whatever it was, woke up the next morning, the dynamic pricing was there. And then I took a look at what dynamic pricing thought I would do versus my base price. And I put in the 400, not what I thought I could do, 475. I want to start lower and I want to get some bookings and I want to get some 5-star reviews. I have tons of videos that talk about that. So I wanted to see what Beyond Pricing did. And sure enough, Beyond Pricing thought I could do more than the 400, meaning there is more demand during peak season in Jackson Hole than there are listings available on Airbnb. So it priced it higher. So the other thing I want to point out here is that Airbnb suggested that I put a 20% discount on the first 3 bookings. They say that that's best practice and it'll attract more interest and it's like an enticement. Since there's no reviews of the property, they think it's a good idea to give a 20% off discount for the first 3 bookings, and I figured why not? Let's just go ahead and do this. The sooner I get 5-star reviews, the sooner I'll get more bookings and build trust and credibility. So a small investment, marketing dollars if you think of it that way, I thought was worthwhile, and I did that. Airbnb priced everything up higher anyway, so the 20% off didn't really matter to me. And sure enough, within, I don't know, I think 2 days or so, I got my very first inquiry. I was unable to accept it. That's a whole different story. But I went and I got a second inquiry, which I did accept. It was over 4th of July weekend. The pricing was $475 per night. Again, that's what I thought I could achieve. I still think I can do higher, especially during a 4th of July period, but it was my very first booking. I wanted it. I wanted the income. I wanted proof of concept. I wanted people to come and give me a 5-star review, so I went with it. And so you may be wondering, what do I think I can get here during peak season? If I thought 475 was achievable, I really think I can get more like 550. We're gonna see. But at 550, that's a really sound investment, and I think that there's just so much demand and so little supply of high quality inventory that I think I've got a diamond in the rough here, and I'm going to try my very best to get there. I won't get there overnight, but that's okay. Like I said, real estate is a very slow and steady long-term investment. I plan on owning this property for 30 years or longer, so I don't need to get rich quick. So it doesn't really matter what your property type is or whether you've launched or you're getting launched. It doesn't matter. The principle is the point of the whole video. Figure out the base price, then lower it, do the Airbnb 20% if they recommend it for you. Think of what you think you can target, connect it to dynamic pricing, raise your price over time, but just get started. And I think from my perspective, this is going to be a really sound investment, and I think yours will be too. We're at a really critical point here where there's a supply and demand imbalance, and I think Airbnb hosts in prime locations with prime properties with great hosting tactics can make far more money today versus a long-term standard lease. So I still recommend people get started or expand or grow or convert long-term ones to short-term ones. It's a very good time to be a short-term rental host. Part of the reason that I'm doing this here in Jackson Hole, and I want to hear from you. What are you up to? What are you seeing? I know there's a lot of competition out there, and we're going to film a video on that, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, if you like this video, give me 2 thumbs up. I know you can't, but just in spirit, 2 thumbs up. And the way you can thank me, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that very much. Now, Charles and I, back to cleaning up. We got a lot to do.